Good morning, baseball fans. It is Sunday, the 3rd of December, and the hot stove is stoving, and the winter meetings are going, and we are here. This is Suzy. That is Kelsey over there. This is Bourbon and Baseball. We have no bourbon. We're going to talk about all the balls, though, all of baseballs, and we're just going to dive all just straight right in. But first, I have to give you the warning because this is a rated R podcast. There will be cuss words, there will be adult content, but not in like that fashion. Okay. Like inappropriate adult humor. All right. Like there's
Well,
no
Gabe Kapler did join the Marlins organization, so I might propose a little adult content from Gabe and SkipSchumacher, but yeah, not from us, not here
no.
today.
Our OnlyFan content is elsewhere. Like you're gonna have to pay for that shit. Okay. But there will be all
Big
the
deep. You won't find it, but
no. All of the F words and inappropriate adult humor over here on the All the Balls edition of Bourbon and Baseball. So, Kelsey, speaking about the hot stove, I got into a heated discussion with my husband this week about the stove. And he's like, "You are an idiot and a weird person, and I don't know how I married you." And I was like, "That's kind of rude." Okay, whatever. He didn't actually say that. Well, he kind of did, but like
that's
joking.
what you heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
But so on my stove, on my burner, there is the bottom right burner is the big burner,
Yeah.
and then like a little burner inside the big burner.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. It's my favorite burner. I use
Sure.
that regardless if I have a tiny pan or if I'm cooking a sauté, like, with, like, the big
Yeah.
skillet,
Best of
okay?
both worlds.
It doesn't matter what size I'm cooking. That's the burner I'm gonna use, the bottom right one.
Mhm.
And my husband's like, "What are you doing?" Why? Because I was making a ramen, which made, like, the small pan, like, right? This
Yeah.
the and he goes, "What? Why are you using the big burner?" He's like, Use the little burner that's, like, the size of the" and I was like, "That is so far away." He wanted me to use, like, the far one,
Yeah.
like, the behind one. I'm all, "Sir, that's far away. I can't. No, it's the bottom right burner is my favorite burner."
Right here.
And he goes, "No, absolutely not. That's no." And I was like, "What do you mean, no? I guarantee you people have favorite burners." And he goes, "Who has favorite burners?" I'm all, I have a favorite burner." Like, and I guarantee you other people have favorite burners. So I need to know, Kelsey, do you have a favorite burner?
Yeah,
And is
I
it
mean,
the bottom right one?
I'm thinking as you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, I think that is I definitely have a default one that I go to, and then we have one in the middle too that is like the big one, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we also have a a pot filler. I don't
Oh,
it's
okay,
like
uh-huh.
a sink
Yeah.
above the above the stove,
Oh, you
so I can
bougie,
actually
okay.
fill the pot up. Right when we saw this house, I was like I had to ask what it was because I had never seen one before, and my husband knew what it was, but the thing that my husband likes to give me shit for is he's a much better cook than I am, and he's very instinctual with it and just, like, doesn't have to look up directions for, like, how long to bake your chicken, and I do every time.
Same.
But I will say, like, I have gotten a lot better at it. I'm much more willing to try, especially since we've been together because he has made it seem more appealing and possible to me, and I have, learned what I can, but he likes to tell me how to do it better sometimes because, like, he just does know how
Right.
to do it better than me, but I'm really bad at, taking that kind of feedback. In a work environment, it's a different sort of thing, but in your
Right.
personal relationships, I have to recognize that, like, I don't necessarily like not, having the upper hand or being, the
Oh,
one that is helping
yeah,
and
no, absolutely
giving
not.
me
My husband
direction,
cannot
so
cannot, quote, unquote, "teach." He can't teach me shit unless I, like, specifically ask for it and am, like, willing to no, like,
yeah.
absolutely not. There's and now in my other life, in my big girl job, I'm a photographer.
Yeah.
And that's actually how we met is through photography.
Oh, cool.
And admittedly, when we met, I was a beginner-ish, but I knew some stuff. And so then when we started talking, he's like, "Well, blah blah blah." I'm like, "I didn't ask you about that. Like what?" And he's like, "Well," and I was like, I did not ask your opinion on that. Like that's not what What
That's not what this
I
is.
not nuh-uh. And he's like, "But what," and I'm like, "Nope, mm-mm, mm-mm, nope. That's not." And so through through this, like he he now knows. He now knows that there are lanes that he gets to pick sometimes.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm like, "Mm-mm, nope, sir. That's not." And so when I wanted to learn how to shoot guns, now he's a law enforcement officer, and so he knows a lot about this, and he he's like, "Look, he's like, "Guns are gonna be in the house, I need you to be, like, comfortable with it," and I was like, "Okay, that's fine." And so he's like, "But I can't teach you." And I go, What what do you mean you can't teach me? Like, you what that's what you're here for." And he's like,
He's like,
"Nope,
"Nope, I learned
that's
this already."
mm-mm, no." And so he goes, "Look," he's like, "I love you, and, like, for the sake of marriage, that's not a thing that we're gonna do." Well, okay, fine, whatever. And so then I had to go learn, through this other, like, girls with guns club that I
Mm.
and it was great. And then I had to come back and be like, "Okay, fine, you were right." And he goes, "I told you." And I was like, "No, see, that's not what we're gonna do. Absolutely not. No."
Yeah, no, you don't
So,
get to tell me I told you so either.
yeah, yeah.
No, my husband
But
is very gentle about giving me direction with anything because he knows how I am, so I really, really appreciate that about him, but we also have similar professional experience that we both have worked in the fitness industry, and while we have different, like, specialties and different
right,
strengths, it's still hard to be open and willing to learn from each other in a professional environment in your personal relationship.
right,
It just
right.
adds a different layer to it, especially depending on your dynamic. Like,
Exactly,
one of
yeah.
my favorite things about my husband is that he can handle me and he can check me when I am
Right.
being bitchy or, ridiculous, because I am a strong, dominant female personality.
What?
I had
No.
I know I had I had men in my life at times who just would have let me walk over them like a doormat, and that was the least attractive thing to me in the
Right,
world, that was
right,
definitely not what I wanted. So, it's not that I don't appreciate it. In fact, I need it, and I'm
right.
sure you can relate,
Yeah,
but it is just a self-awareness thing, I guess, to
yeah.
know how you are.
Exactly, exactly, yeah. So, but yeah, so that's I love the tangent that we we went on this. But yeah, so
So,
right
yeah,
corner burner.
that stove, we've got the right corner stove. I'm with you. That is
Okay,
the one that is, like, my default, my
okay.
go-to.
Alright,
I don't think it's weird.
listeners, I need y'all to pipe in, okay? Because I asked this on my Twitter as well, but I need you guys to pipe in. If you have a favorite burner on your stove, which burner is it? And let me know, please, and thank you, I appreciate it.
I'm sure
So,
that one is probably even, like my husband, I'm thinking, uses the bottom left one the most,
is he
though.
left-handed?
No,
Interesting.
but I think there's more counter space on that side,
Oh,
so that's
okay,
probably why. But, yeah, I think even on our stove, those 2 burners are, like, obviously, like, dirtier, like, they need to be cleaned more often too. It's
okay.
very telling.
Okay. Well, so going from one stove to the next stove, winter meetings start today in Nashville. And if you've ever been to the hotel that they are holding these winter meetings at, you don't see the outside for like 5 days. Literally everything slash anything that you need in this hotel. And it's one of those, like, I want not open roof, but it's got, like, the big skylights, so you
Yeah.
can, like, see the outdoors, you just don't ever have to go to the outdoors.
Yeah, have you been there?
Uh-huh.
I went there once, like, as a kid, and I mean, I was probably, like, 8 years old or something, but I remember having lunch there, and we were, like, I don't know if they still have this there, but we were, like, rotating on a
Mm.
like, a turntable while we were eating.
Did that not make you super nauseous?
I mean, it
I
was
feel like
very
that would make me nauseous.
slow, but
Oh, okay.
as a kid, I remember just being like, "What is happening?"
What is going on? Yeah, so, oh, like we said in the last, episode, hopefully they wash their hands this time, and hopefully
Seriously.
it doesn't end up being like a shitty thing, because I would hate for the winter meetings to be derailed any farther, than they, like, already have. Like, I don't want any more excuses on, like, why the big moves haven't been made yet, and I realize that I'm just an impatient wench when it comes to that. I'm like, "Look, I just wanna know where JuanSoto is gonna go, okay? Is he gonna be a Yankee? Is he
Yeah.
not?
The anticipation of it kind of drives me insane.
Yeah.
And all of the speculation, all of the rumors. At some point, I'm like, okay, enough already. Wash your hands and sign the contract. I'm there with you.
Yeah. But, then apparently though, like, it came out this morning that Shohei Ohtani will not be signing during the winter meetings.
I mean,
Don't
that doesn't
expect that.
surprise me. I feel like I always felt like we were gonna be waiting, like it wasn't gonna happen right off the rip, and it was something we were gonna be waiting for, but it also seems like it's dictating so much of everything else, especially for the few teams that are, like, really in on it, so that's what's hard about it,
Exactly.
but if he waits, he's gonna force people to reevaluate and
Overpay.
you know Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
and I mean, just have to kind of realign their priorities.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
take some
really
teams out of it even because they
yeah.
just won't be able to wait it out, I don't know.
Um, yeah, according to, someone close to the Mariners organization, that they had kind of been rumored in on the Shohei sweepstakes, but they realized that Shohei was Nordstrom, and they were shopping at Nordstrom Rack. And I was like, "That is the best, analogy of, I guess, being cheap while wanting
Yeah,
the name brands."
yep,
But, I mean, all love a good deal. I actually don't shop at Nordstrom Rack 'cause, I don't I don't care about labels because 'cause I'm like, "Is it comfortable? Does it fit? Okay, good. I'm good." But there are those people that are like, "Oh, absolutely not. I will not wear anything besides blah, 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 blah." I'm all,
yeah.
"Oh, alright. Go ahead and spend $100 on Lululemon leggings." Sure. Anyways, but yeah, so I feel like Shohei and Yamamoto are the 2 big dominoes that
Definitely.
are just waiting to fall, and as soon as those fall, I think that we're just gonna have a barrage of moves, and I think that's what we're waiting on.
Yes, I do think that the teams that are looking to more exclusively rely on trades this offseason, that we could see a lot of that start to happen this this week. I mean, some stuff's got to start to happen, right? But you see the teams like the Dodgers and the Giants and the Blue Jays, and they're all like laying low and keeping quiet because they're waiting it out for Otani and or Yamamoto. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Yamamoto has to sign by January 4th. So he
Oh.
is one that we could see sooner rather than later.
Why is January 4th the arbitrary date for him?
It is part of the posting process from the Japanese league as he has 45 days from the date he is posted. Teams have
Mm,
45 days to negotiate and sign him. I'm not sure why is that specific regulation, but that's it.
interesting.
That's due.
I wonder if that's the same-ish deadline that the um, uh, Korean baseball players have.
Quite possibly. Yeah, I would assume there's
Hmm.
something similar.
Interesting. I will have to look that up. Like, while we talk about other things, I'll have to look that up. So,
Yeah.
but besides that, the let's go back to the JuanSoto and his ridiculous contract and the rumored teams in on him
Yeah.
because, like we said in the last episode, JuanSoto to the Yankees would just be a nightmare for all of us. But that seemed to have more teeth, this week. And it was, rumored that, oh, now names were discussed. I'm like, how do
Ooh.
right?
I
I was
don't know
like,
about you, but I'm pretty sure that's how, like, trade talks start. That's, like,
right?
step 1.
I was like,
Step
I don't
1.
understand how you start trade talks without talking about names. Like, do you just walk
Yeah,
up to somebody and
no.
you're like, "Hey, Yankees, you wanna trade?" And then the Padres are like, maybe," and the Yankees like, let me think about it." And then, like, 3 days later, they come back and they're like, "Okay, we've
Let's
thought about
step
it.
this up. Yeah.
Let's talk about names." What? No, like, wouldn't you be like, "Hey, Yankees, we're thinking about, getting rid of Juan Soto's contract. So, since, Juan Soto Here's all of his accolades, walks a gajillion times, has a great butt waggle. What are you willing to give up? And then the Yankees come back, and then I would
Yeah.
figure that would be step 1. No, 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 no. It's like step 43.
Yeah. No,
I'm
it's
so
all
confused by
part
this.
of, I mean, it's a long off season, right? And
Yeah.
like we started off saying, there's days and weeks and sometimes months of speculation, and the media has to do their job, and most of them do it very well. And part of doing it well is coming up with these headlines like talks have intensified because they are now exchanging names, where it's like, I think that means they started. That's like
Yeah.
the trade talks are, happening, period. But
Yeah. It's so funny to me. So, but apparently the Padres wanted reliever MichaelKing, and so MichaelKing was I don't know if you watched a ton of Yankees games. I unfortunately tuned into a lot of Yankees games, like unintentionally, but kind of intentionally. And MichaelKing ended up starting a bunch of games for them at the end of the season. They stretched him out to a starter.
oh, I
Uh-huh.
missed that. Especially at the
Yeah.
end of the season, I was
Yeah. Just
having enough.
mired in Cardinals
Yeah,
misery.
yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the season, they stretched him out into a starter, and he was lights out. Like, it as painful as that is to say, as an Astros loving girly, it was I was like, "Golly." And for all of the Yankees' faults of I mean, we've all heard the rumors of how ridiculous the Yankees, like, farm system and, like, is and antiquated, with practices. Their pitching staff and their pitchers that they're able to turn out
Yeah.
is great. I don't I don't know why all the pitchers get hurt, but regardless, MichaelKing has been awesome for them. And so the fact that they were in on MichaelKing and they were like, reliever, swingman, starter, but then also in on Drew Thorpe, I want to say, who was one of their, lower level prospects, pitching prospect as well. Uh, but I want to say that like 3 names that they were definitely out on that they were not even like willing to hear anything about was the Martian, Jason
Yes.
Dominguez, their Gold Glove winning shortstop, Anthony Volpe. And I only say that kind of tongue in cheek, and I'm very sorry, Anthony Volpe. And that's not anything like personal against you. But there's just I don't know, maybe some other options. Anyways, their Gold Glove shortstop, Anthony Volpe. There was one more I want to say in their minor league system that they were not willing to move.
Yeah,
And
I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but it was kind of a ridiculous haul that the Padres had seemed to propose, at least from what was reported,
yeah,
because not only did they want MichaelKing, but they wanted like 4 to 6 of these guys too, and a number of them were these that you're talking
mm,
about that they were like, "Yeah, no, that untouchable, not gonna
yeah.
happen."
Well, so then talks stalled, quote unquote, with the Yankees,
Mhm.
and now it's rumored that the Blue Jays are in on
Send
Juan
him to
Soto.
Canada.
Yeah. Well, and Shohei Ohtani is
Right.
like in on Shohei Ohtani, and I'm
Do you
all
think there's any possible chance that Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto are Blue Jays in 2024?
absolutely fucking not.
I don't think either of them are gonna be, let alone both,
No,
but
no,
that has been
no.
intriguing.
One name that had been floated that I do see as a possibility is our beloved Uncle Mike, Michael Brantley.
Mm, mhm.
Now, it was before he got re-signed with us, there were rumors that he was a Blue Jay last season and the season before that. Like George Springer
Oh,
and he are best friends. They are
okay.
besties for the resties. And so I see Michael Brantley to the Blue Jays having much more um having legs on that rumor
Yeah,
than Juan Soto or Shohei.
totally, and
What
a lot of times that is when the best deals for both sides happen, is when it's something that has been in the works for years. That just makes a lot more sense to me too.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I say I don't know where he would play, but I mean he would just be like I feel like DH. I want to say they lost their DH. Is it Brandon Belt?
They are it sounds like their plan is to move Dalton Varsho to center field. So I believe they have a hole in left field right now, assuming that they're
Mm,
going to move Varsho to center field. So
okay.
I was wondering if they go out and try to bring Lourdes Gurriel Jr. back and sign him as a free
Mm,
agent.
interesting.
You never know.
You do. You never know.
Especially because he had a great season with the
Yeah.
Diamondbacks, and I would assume that they were having a hard time watching him after that trade that they made that sent him and Gabby Moreno to the Diamondbacks for
Mhm.
one Dalton Varsho,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I know
One it
Dalton Varsho is very versatile. He's a plus defender in multiple positions. I get it, but at the plate, it's just not even comparable. And
Nope.
Lourdes Gurriel really stepped it up out in the outfield this past season too. So
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see. I know that GeorgeSpringer is getting up there. I say getting up there, and that hurts me as a 41-year-old. Ay, ay, ay. But, like, in baseball world, anything
yeah, how old is he? George Springer.
George Springer, I wanna say it's like 33, 34.
Yeah, 34.
Yeah,
He's a
you know?
month younger than
And
me.
and Uncle Mike is like 36, I wanna say.
Ooh, okay.
So when I say that he's up there, like, he is up there, and that kind of that hurts me. Um, but who knows? Uncle Mike to the Blue Jays, we shall see. So, um, going from Canada to a much, much warmer place where people from Canada, winter, Miami. What significant things happened in Miami, Kelsey?
Well, the biggest news for the Miami Marlins is that they have signed Gabe the Gabe Kapler as their assistant GM. So he is part of the front office now for the Miami Marlins, more or less, I guess, uh, replacing KimNg, who was their general manager. But when they hired in the president of baseball operations, which they actually did after she departed, but came out that part of the reason that she decided to depart was because it was clear that they were going to bring in a president of baseball ops over her, which essentially makes her more of an assistant GM.
Right.
And that's not what she was looking to do, understandably so. So since they didn't want to pay KimNg for her decades of expertise and, let her put together something for them there and invest in that, Bruce Sherman is looking at Gabe Kapler, who he managed the Phillies from 2018, 2019. Then, of course, he was the manager of the Giants from 2020 to the 2023 season. He was manager of the year with the Giants in 2021. And he actually got his start coaching as a coach for the Israeli national baseball team in 2013 in the WBC, which I did not know. But apparently, the appeal for the Marlins came from the time that he spent as the director of player development with the Dodgers in 2014 to 2017. So we know
Interesting.
that Gabe is analytically savvy. He is a analytics heavy manager or coach, but he's also been referred to as an out of the box thinker. And obviously, he played for many years. So it is believed that he can also relate to players well. But this is his first time in more of
The
an
front.
executive, a
Yeah.
front office type of role. So what were your initial takes on this?
That basically the Miami Marlins, are going to try to subsidize their payroll by doing, like, a front office calendar, like, month of the year
Ooh,
calendar, right?
yeah.
Like
Yeah, no, my suggestion was going to be that okay, have you seen and I think it's on Max. Um I I want to say it was a reality, yeah, it was like a reality TV competition. It came out years ago, but I think it's called Making Magic Mike, where they actually like found a new guy to put in the Magic Mike shows in Vegas.
that is hysterical. No, I have not seen
Okay,
that show.
in all seriousness, this is not typically my jam. I'd much rather be down to do the road trip to all the different baseball stadiums than to travel to see any sort of male show like
Review
that.
show?
But I was super impressed by everything that goes into it. I mean, there is
Correct.
like a legitimate level of talent and dedication, and they did a really good job of like bringing you into the behind the scenes and everything that goes into it, and then just the personal lives of these guys who were on the show. So it's really entertaining. It makes you like have a different level of appreciation for it for sure. But that was my initial thought, was like, I know there's an attendance issue at Lone Depot. I think if maybe an hour or two before the game, we taught Gabe and Skip just like a dance or two, MagicMike style, and promoted that. We had that on special like weekday games or something. Like, I think that attendance problem might be less of a problem. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, no, I think you're onto something there. I think we need to take it, like, one step further, though, and, Marlins, socials team needs to hop on the TikTok train and
Mm,
just teach them both a couple of different TikTok dances,
there you go.
and when I tell you that the Marlins socials accounts are gonna be just sky high, like, there when I tell you that there are non-baseball girlies that will say, "Oh my god, do you know that baseball coach? Do you know who I'm talking about?" And
Yes.
immediately I know who they're talking about.
Yeah.
They're like, "The one with gla" I'm like, "Gabe Kapler." "Yeah,
Yeah.
mhm, I know who you're talking about." And they're like, "I I've thought about watching baseball just for him." And I'm like, "I don't blame you. I don't blame you." Like, he is great as eye candy. Like, I would love to just, like, watch Gabe Kapler. In no way, shape, or form would I ever, like, find myself wanting to be in a relationship with Gabe Kapler or, like,
Yeah.
anywhere, like, near his actual orbit. I just want to watch
No,
him from
because he has
afar.
that, like, fuck boy thing about him too, right?
That too,
Like,
but, like, what kinda weirdo literally doesn't like cake? Like, you can't be in my orbit if you
wait,
don't
he
like
doesn't
cake.
like cake?
He does not like cake. Mm-mm, nope. They tried, like I think it was with the Giants, they tried to get him a birthday cake, and, the
No, this
first
sounds like
year
some keto bullshit to me, Gabe.
it is. He
No.
literally w took a bite and then spit it out because he's like, "Yeah, I" he was like, "I like the taste of it, kind of, but then" he goes, "I would much rather just eat a steak." So the next year, they got him a steak, like a big ass T-bone
Okay.
for his birthday, and so anyone that is like that self-conscious like, not self-conscious, health conscious, we can't
Yeah, it's not
you're
even
going
that,
to
it's
you're
aesthetic
gonna judge
conscious,
me on
obvious.
my eating of these 3 cupcakes over here, okay, like, all in one
Yeah.
sitting, and I don't need that in my life, that's not so I'm like, I wanna look at Gabe Kapler on my TikTok in,
Yeah, or on a calendar, I
mm,
think that's
yeah,
a great idea.
also SkipSchumacher, not bad to look at, not bad to look
Oh
at
my
at all, so if we could just do that and I wanna say that they added a couple more pieces to the, Giants bench coach roles as well, but I don't have those names pulled up, but I'm pretty sure that those names could fill in as well.
Yeah,
And just
yeah, you can put them on, like, April and
mhm.
October on the calendar, the less popular months.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, I it's one of those things that I'm like, I think maybe that's the aesthetic that we're going for because I don't know. I just feel real bad for KimNg because the moves that she made with the payroll that she was given, and I'm like, she made magic for y'all. She made
She
magic
did,
for y'all, and
she
you
did.
rewarded her by basically
By
showing her
saying, like,
cards.
"We're gonna bring in a white man over you. You're
Yeah,
welcome."
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay, cool. Love that
But
for us."
whatever, I mean, all I can say ultimately is good for her because she's going to find bigger and better things, and even if that means she has to wait a season or 2 to find it, like, good for her, because she
Yeah.
will.
Yep. So, you know, and the fact that, like, the Rays and the Marlins have done deals, and I'm all the president of baseball ops, came from the Rays, and so now he's just,
Mhm.
like, cherry picking the guys that, like, he knows, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Alright, come on that way." I'm all so it'll be interesting to see how he builds that program, but
Well, I'm wondering too, I feel like the Dodgers and the Marlins must have some inner working relationships there too, because KimNg was the assistant GM for the Dodgers, as well before, I don't think directly before coming to Miami, but maybe, recently. And so, like, then hearing that, oh, what they liked about Gabe was that he was how he worked in his time with the Dodgers as well. So I
Yeah.
noticed that little correlation.
Yeah. But speaking about the Dodgers bring back JoeKelly. guys
JoeKelly, baby.
You guys
We
don't
love
know who JoeKelly
JoeKelly.
is. There's not a lot of guys as baseball players I actually despise. JoeKelly is on that short list.
Really?
JoeKelly's on that short list.
Why?
I I I really I don't like to use the word hate because it's a strong word. It's a
That's a
strong word.
strong word, Suzy.
It is. It is. But JoeKelly's on that list. He is an asshole in every sense of the word. And he plays up that like and I you know how you see guys on the field and you're like, "I wonder if he's that same persona off the field?"
Yeah.
He's that same persona off the field.
Yeah.
And so that just leads me to believe that, like, him and, like, Trevor Bauer would just be, like, the best besties
Oh,
ever.
no, you can't make that comparison for me. No
Oh.
way.
Oh,
What
yeah.
about JoeKelly makes you feel that way?
Okay, so, I mean, notwithstanding the whole, "Oh, he's a Dodger," but the fact that, like, when he was a Dodger, just totally threw at Carlos Correa's head. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for, like, baseball policing itself, okay? Like, I'm not that person that's like, "Oh, we shouldn't throw at people." No,
I kind of
no,
am,
like,
so
okay.
I'll do
Oh,
that first.
I can see, like, I'll do that first. But the fact that, like, you're throwing at someone's head, okay, first off, what the fuck? That's no, absolutely not. And then to do it and egg Carlos Correa on. So, I'm like, if you wanna fucking fight, bro.
Yeah.
Don't posture and try to be, like, held back, because if you go back and watch that whole thing, Carlos
Mhm.
Correa was like, "Let's go, bro."
Yeah,
And
I mean, that's him.
Joe Kelly is back in the dugout still talking shit. Like, you wanna talk like that again, you wanna talk shit? Come on with it. Come on with it.
Yeah.
Let's talk some fucking shit, but talk some fucking shit to my fucking face.
Yeah.
Don't go be in the dugout. And then afterwards, him saying that they were staying in the same hotel as the Astros and that he could meet in the lobby.
Oh, I missed all of this.
Oh, yeah.
Ew.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I'm like, I guarantee goddamn to you, Joe Kelly, that you've not been hit in the fucking face
Oh, yeah,
enough
no.
for you to be talking this much shit, okay? Like, y and so one of the interviews that I listened and I very rarely tune in to Joe Kelly things because I can't stand him, and I really want I was like, "Okay, maybe I'm just not giving him a chance," right? Like, maybe I'm just viewing Joe Kelly in this, like,
Yeah,
hole
we're fed
of
our storylines,
okay.
yeah.
So I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna really try. I'm gonna really try," and I think it was Pitching Ninja. I think it was a Pitching Ninja interview where he's like, "So, is this really, like, a thing, or is this kind of" he's like, "Oh, no. No, absolutely." He's like, "And I'll say it to Carlos Correa's face right now." And he's like and he has twins, and as a twin mom, I am a little bit more, like, lax, and I'm like, "Oh, he's a twin dad, like, he's got it." Absolutely not. He was like, "Oh, no." He's like, "If my twins acted like that," he's like, I'd step to him right now." I'm all, "Your twins are, like, 4 years old, so you're telling me that
Yeah,
if your
bro.
4-year-old is gonna talk shit to you, that you're gonna step to get the fuck out of here, Joe Kelly.
Ew.
Just shut the fuck up and sit down." Absolutely not. And so the fact that the fact that they didn't re-sign Joe Kelly after that year just made me
Mhm.
laugh even so much more because they had fucking murals to Joe Kelly in
Yeah.
LA, and then he left. And then now they're bringing him back. So I guess good for whoever painted that mural in LA that now you get it back.
Yeah,
So good
we'll uncover it.
I guess good for you. I don't know, but, like, when he was with the White Sox, I just every single time, he has the most punchable face in the entire fucking world, and I realized that I actually could never do anything because I would have to, like, jump to try and, like, hit him, but this is why God made me SMall, like, he knew. He knew that if he made me, like, a normal-sized person, that I would just get myself in trouble. I would. Just get myself in trouble. I'd just be throat punching all motherfuckers, starting with JoeKelly.
Starting with JoeKelly. Yeah, man, I'm bummed to hear that because that just sounds like straight up little bitch energy. Like,
Yeah.
big tall man who's a little bitch.
Yeah.
But as a Cardinals fan, like that, it's funny. This is what I love about talking about players like this amongst ourselves, because the algorithms like feed us different storylines. And there's things like that I'm like, I never fucking heard that about JoeKelly. And of course that would make me feel differently about him. But yeah, I know he has a personality, but what I've seen of it was, are more fun and just entertaining to watch. But yeah, that's not great. I don't love it.
No. So it'll be interesting to see again when, the Astros face off with the Dodgers next season, and if he continues that energy. And I did not tune in to Twins White Sox games because why
Yeah,
would you?
no, didn't watch a lot
But
of that.
yeah, but maybe I'll ask my Twins friends and be like, "Hey, what was the energy there when JoeKelly faced off with Carlos Correa? Or did JoeKelly even get into those games? Because, for a while there, JoeKelly wasn't doing great." So
Right.
I don't know. It's interesting. So I don't think those numbers have come out yet, or have they? Because I want to say that
I have
that
not seen
deal
them
just
yet. No, just that it's a 1-year deal. So
okay.
JoeKelly, you can stick with the Dodgers then.
Yeah. It's a whole mess. It's a whole mess, and that just makes the likableness of like Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts, because sometimes I look over at that Dodgers team and I'm like,
Yeah.
I could actually really like you
So
if you weren't the
wholesome.
Dodgers.
Right.
But then you
Right.
have JoeKelly. I just that's my that's my notes on the Dodgers. And a shaking of the head. So, but yeah, going from the Dodgers to the Giants, where apparently nobody wants to sign.
Yeah,
Are the
man.
Giants ever gonna get anybody? Like, poor San Francisco's like, "Do you see our beautiful ballpark? Like, you could play here."
Right. I mean, Oracle, yeah, it looks amazing. I haven't been there. My brother had the chance to go like a year or so ago, and I've heard from many who have been there that it's like one of their favorite stadium experiences. It is kind of always a little chilly in that area, and there are definitely some things, especially for pitchers, that is not super appealing about, playing 80 plus games in San Francisco every season. So I get that as a challenge, but ultimately, like, that's not it. Every place, every ballpark, every atmosphere has its challenges. But
Right.
yeah, there were the huge storylines last season that they tried to sign Aaron Judge, who was like, no, apparently I'll take less to stay with the Yankees, which, like, whatever. We all knew he was going to stay with the Yankees anyway. And then the whole Carlos Correa, where it was like, I mean, it was announced, like, done deal, 9 years or something with the Giants. And then he did not pass their physical and they retracted the offer. And I honestly thought that they won that. Like, that was a good call for them. I mean, that to not make that investment and take that risk and not let Boris win and pull the wool over their eyes again. So yeah, I don't necessarily think that was like a bad thing. It was unfortunate that he couldn't be the franchise player that they had been looking for. And Michael Conforto was like their consolation prize, not exactly the same as a Carlos Correa type of signing.
But who did play shortstop for them? Was that Brandon? Was that
Why can't I think of his name? Brandon Crawford?
Brandon Crawford? I was about to say Brandon Belt. I was like, no, that he's from the Blue Jays.
I
But
get them
Brandon,
confused for some reason all the time. Like, I know I get them confused and they're not the same person, obviously. But yeah, and I don't know if Brandon Crawford is gonna retire. Is he retiring? He's not committed to retiring yet.
He's not committed to retiring yet. But I mean, see, and I don't know, like Carlos Correa wasn't horrible for the Twins this season. I mean, there was
No, and I don't
the
think he
plantar
will
fasciitis
be.
thing, but
No,
like,
it won't play out for another few years. But the point is, like, I don't think anyone thought he was going to be playing shortstop 10 years from now. But the point is, will he be playing everyday shortstop 4 or 5 years from now? And that will be what I'm most interested to follow.
It'll be really interesting. According to Roster Resource, their opening day shortstop is Marco Luciano.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. You're like, who the fuck is Marco Luciano?
Yeah. I mean, that's literally the whole Giants roster, though. And their
Yeah.
pitching, you're like, uh, I mean, it's the reason why, like, even though they're not totally out of it and they're always at least somewhat in the playoff conversation until close to the end. They're not fun to watch.
No, no, because they don't have any big names. I mean, they're
And they're just very unconventional in like a boring way, not
yeah,
even in a cool way.
their
So,
starting rotation is Logan Webb, Anthony DeSclafani, Ross Stripling, Kyle Harrison, and Keaton Wynn.
yeah,
You're like, wait, what? Why? You know, they're
they
I
had a lot of bullpen games last season
they
too. They
did. They
definitely
had
had
a
the most.
lot. Um, Camilo Duvall is their, like, lights out closer. They have the and they have the, twin mirror twin brothers, Taylor and Tyler
Yes,
Rogers.
yes. I do like watching them.
Um, that's really interesting, like, they're mirror twins, but they're also, like, submarine like, mirror twin. I'm like, "How does that even work?" But alright, like, cool. Yeah, their roster, Lamont Wade Jr. at first, Tyro Estrada at second, Mike Yastrzemski at center,
Oh, yeah.
Wilmer Flores as their DH, Michael Conforto as their left field, JD Davis as their third baseman, Mitch Haniger in right, Patrick Bailey, who is admittedly their quote unquote catcher of the future and has been awesome. And then their shortstop, Marco Luciano. You're like, I don't understand who you are. Apparently, Marco Luciano was drafted as a amateur free agent from the Dominican Republic in 2018.
Hmm.
So, they're okay. So, the Giants need a big name, a big
Yeah,
someone.
or 2. My question for you is, like, what players do you see that, like, fit there, that makes sense there, that you think could be a realistic for them? Because, like, I'm sorry, but I don't see Otani going there. He can pick wherever he wants. It's
Yeah,
just not gonna happen.
I don't know. I mean, like, and I'm not familiar enough with the Giants just because, like, I mean, we talked about the Cardinals rotation yeah, last episode. Their rotation's not much better.
No,
Their
but okay,
rotation
so
doesn't
I
have
guess
much better either.
I think they need, like, an anchor for their starting rotation or,
Yeah.
like, someone to be excited about, and
Mhm.
then I also think they need, like, a franchise player, and there's a lot of guys like Otani or even like Yamamoto, yeah, Cody Bellinger, who I'm just like, I don't, like, see it. It's the vibes are not right. So, the
Yeah.
2 players that I have picked for the San Francisco Giants to target are Marcus Stroman. I just think, like, he has star energy. The
Yeah.
one of the reasons he fit into the Cubs last season so well is because they didn't have guaranteed, like, leadership, and they were
Yeah.
all new, like, new big pieces being put together, and he wants to be the face of the franchise. He has that kind of energy. I mean, the fans
Yeah.
love him, and I feel like he personally could be really successful and happy there. And they could, he has potentially a career year or 2 still in him for sure.
Yeah.
So go for Marcus Stroman, Giants. And then I don't know how they would make this happen, but if they could somehow acquire Jackson-Holliday, like, that's the kind of player
Ooh.
to
Yeah.
get him back on the map.
I don't ooh, that would take a haul, though.
Yeah, I mean, and it
But
would
I
have to
mean,
be some serious pitching too, because I think that's what would make it worth it for the Orioles. But I mean, that would change the game for them.
yeah, I mean, you wanna talk about a loaded freaking farm system. But see, the Orioles, though, the Orioles are not they're that owner is not gonna pay for any of their young players to
Right.
stay. They're just gonna use all of them, and then they're gonna have that pipeline of, like, amazing young talent that they're just like, "Oh, cool. Um, Jackson Holiday, like, you don't wanna be or, like, you're gonna be here for a while, and then we're just gonna replace you with, like, another young guy."
Yeah, so obviously they don't have
Oh,
the kind of control with him right now to get him somewhere
yeah.
else, but, like, they already know that's not where he's gonna make his money.
Yeah.
So just free JacksonHolliday. I know he's 19 or 20, but
That's
free
so
him,
funny.
Orioles. Let him go get paid because 19-year-olds are getting paid now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I don't know why 19-year-olds are getting paid, but, like, good on ya, Jackson Churio. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, let's talk about Jackson Churio, and let's talk about the 19-year-olds that are getting paid. But let's talk about other players that got signed before or got their big deals before they ever played, like, in
Mhm.
the MLB. And did it work out? Like John Singleton,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
yeah.
So, like, don't get me wrong, like, I love John Singleton, and I love his back like, his, like, bounce back story,
Yes.
and, you wanna talk about, like, a left-hander that, like, walks all the time, that's great, but he did not make the big impact that the Astros, like, hoped that he would make, and I wonder if he made different off the field life choices, if that would have helped. I mean, obviously, I think it would have helped, but when you give that young of a person that much money, I mean, unless they are either, like, A, super grounded or B, have, like, the greatest support system around them, that'll, like, I guess, really won't allow them to get into trouble, like,
Yeah.
how is a 19-year-old given $80 million supposed to turn that down? That's, like, life-changing money.
Right. Well, and the other thing that's, like, the most crazy to me about the Jackson Churio deal is that he has not set foot in the major leagues. So the
Yeah.
Brewers signed their number 3 prospect, Jackson Churio, to an 8-year, $82 million extension. It does include 2 club options that are worth $25 million and plenty of incentives. So its max value is actually $142.5 million over 8
That
years. But he
and
has he has, like, a
that's
year in
less
double A
than
under his belt. He's never played a day in the
but
major
that's less than, that the contract's way less than, Julio Rodriguez's contract, yeah?
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
it's still way less than what he could be worth, especially 8 years from now with the way that,
Right.
salaries are escalating very quickly. So it's still yeah, definitely on, like, the team's side of it if he has the upside that he
They
shows
think they're gonna
promise
have.
for. He is a five-tool player. But there is a reason why, yeah, like, this isn't a more common thing, and that's because being a successful Major League Baseball player, like, there's less chance of doing that than there like, you're more likely to get hit by a bus. I think I've said something like that before, but it's just true.
Yeah.
It's just true. Like, these are the most elite of elite, and it's even more common that pitchers do not live up to their potential. There are so many pitching prospects, right, that we hear about that just somehow fall off and then they never even make it to the major leagues. But there are just as many position players who have, like, these really high upsides and we get really excited about, and then they might make their major league debut, like, not as soon as we hope they would. They might play a season or 2, or maybe they're still around coming up and down, but we never hear about them. But for a year or 2 when they were, in the draft and first starting out playing professionally, they were all that we talked about. So there's still more of those players than there are of Julio Rodriguez and Bryce Harper's.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little crazy when when you look at the numbers of Jackson Churio and, like, what he's able to accomplish and, like, what
Yeah.
he has accomplished. So, for those that, like, don't know, Jackson Churio is, with the Brewers organization from Venezuela, outfielder. And he signed, with a $1.9 million signing bonus, international, free agency money. And in his first season, slash 296, 386, and 447 in 45 games. 447 slug as a freaking teenager. Like, what?
Yeah, he's
What are you
19. He'll be
like,
20 in
what are you
March.
doing? Like, so he ended the 2023 season, in Nashville. In 6 games with the Sounds, he batted .333, .375, and .476 with 2 runs batted in. They're just like, "Jackson Churro, you are our future in center field." So that leads me to believe that what? It's him, Sal Frelick, and who's their left field?
Oh,
I
well,
don't know.
Joey Weimer, we were talking about him earlier
I
this week,
think
but they have
I think
another
Joey
who's their other
Weimer
guy?
and,
Well, Christian Yelich, how long is he still on the docket
yeah.
for?
But I wanna say, like, Joey Weimer and, Last name Bart. First name missing in my brain. But I want to say those two are like the ones that are kind of on the trade block then, if they're gonna sign Jackson Cherio. So Joey Weimer, didn't JoeyWendell just sign somewhere too?
Oh yeah. What
I
did
feel
we
like
say about JoeyWendell? We missed.
I wanna
He
say
was the one that I was thinking of that we missed.
JoeyWendell from the Miami Marlins signed with the
Oh,
Mets.
yes.
With the Mets.
Yeah. Uncle Steve making another economical deal there.
Signed with the Mets as their utility infielder. So, I mean, good for you, JoeyWendell, no longer on the Marlins, so they don't have 23 second basemen just playing in other positions. Sorry, the Joeys led me down a different path
There's
with
a lot of
my
Joeys
ADHD.
right
There
now.
are.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's interesting these long-term deals for these young players. I mean, Jackson Churio is definitely I don't think he's obviously not technically rated like the number 2 prospect right behind JacksonHolliday, but he definitely is. The Jacksons are like the prospects that you're hearing about right now, right? And he could even potentially, I think, as a power hitter specifically, have even more upside than JacksonHolliday ultimately. He's 19 years old. Like he's not even put on his adult man size yet, and he's slugging 447 or whatever he said. So yeah, there's
Adult
something
man
serious. I mean, he hasn't. He's 19 fucking years old. I'm just thinking of what my brother looked like at 19 years old versus what he looks like now. And I'm like, I'm a string bean. So I'm just saying they're thinking about that. And what I do like, I guess, about it is I think it gives both sides that kind of like comfort in their level of investment with each other. Because especially for an organization like the Brewers, there's a lot of different ways that they can utilize prospects
Right.
in their system like that. And so it just kind of gives him that level of security to just go out there and like do his thing and know that they're going to give him every opportunity to make the most of his potential with
Right.
them. And like that is their intention. So I like it for that reason. And I do think that gives him a little bit of an advantage of, hopefully hitting that ceiling and breaking it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, we'll see what the Brewers end up doing. I think we mentioned on our episode last season or last week that depending on what Corbin Burns does will
Yeah.
determine what the Brewers do. If they keep Corbin Burns around this season, then they're like, maybe we'll go for it a little bit, but not really. But then if they get rid of Corbin Burns, like that, I think that signifies we're gonna burn it down.
Yes.
We're gonna burn it down.
2026.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think they could get a haul for DevinWilliams too, though. So,
Oh my
well,
gosh. DevinWilliams is my biggest Brewers envy. Like if I
that
could pick one player off the Brewers, it would be him.
that airbender is just insane. I don't understand pitching. And obviously I don't understand physics because I'm not that Asian, but I don't understand how the ball moves that way. Like, sir, what are you doing? And everyone's like, "Oh, it's the pro nation or the super nation, blah blah blah." And I'm all, "Oh, okay."
I don't know how he does it. I don't think that much about it. I just think it's pretty and
It's magical.
amazing.
Magical. But talking about pitchings, we'll move over to the Reds, who signed 2 pitchers this season, and it'll be really interesting to see how that move ends up for them because, I mean, the Reds ultimately that was their like weak point this season. I say
Oh,
weak
for
point
sure.
because they had, I don't know, like 43 young kids come up and make awesome inroads for them.
Right.
But excuse me. But they signed Nick Martinez to a $26 million deal. And then they signed Emilio Pagan to 2 years as well from the Twins.
Mhm.
So, I don't know what the Twins are doing over there because doesn't look like they have any starting pitching left now. And their
Yeah,
relief
they just
pitchers
got
are kind
Pablo Lopez like waving in
right,
the wind
just
by himself.
by himself, just be like, "All right, I'm here. What's going on? Anybody wanna come pitch with me?" I don't know. Um, so but yeah,
No,
so
but
they've got
next
Nick.
to Nick Martinez, this is what's the craziest thing to me about this. Next to Nick Martinez and Pagan, Their next highest player is Hunter Green, who's making $3 million.
That's insane. Absolutely insane.
Insane.
But I mean, Joey Votto is saying so long to the Reds, and apparently, did you see this on his Instagram? He, like, deleted any mention of the Reds on his Instagram. Like, he deleted, like, straight up,
Really?
like, a ton of Reds posts and stuff.
Oh. Well, because I
And
kind of was waiting to see if they would offer him something, to
right.
come back. And it's one thing to decline the kind of option that he had, but
Yeah.
fans still definitely want to see him play. And I'm sorry, like, I guess I get that they're going to be more competitive in 2024, but there is some serious money to be made for a Joey Votto reunion tour. Like, come on. Do you think the Cardinals paid Adam Wainwright $17.5 million last year because they thought he was going to actually help them win that much? I'm sorry, because I love him more than anyone. And I would have loved nothing more for that to happen, but that is not why he got that deal. So come on, Reds.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen, though. I don't think it's gonna happen, and I think
you're reading those signs. I'm with you.
I need Joey Votto to go to a team, though, that needs a little bit of that, like, I guess, like, veteran leadership. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, Joey Votto to the D-backs.
Mm.
Joey Votto to the Angels.
Okay,
Everyone's going to the Angels.
Angels. Here's how you get Shohei Ohtani.
There you go. But
Give Joey Votto.
but seriously, though, you tell me that Joey Votto doesn't go to the Angels and irons out Anthony Rendon.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Sign Tim
Like
Anderson, iron him the shit out too. Let's go.
okay,
I love this. We are planning the Angels comeback. Artie Moreno,
Angels,
you don't
hire
have
us.
to think for yourself anymore. I know you really want to, and you don't listen to anyone clearly, but you should listen to us.
You should listen to us. Like,
With all
hi.
your pieces and how they fit together.
Exactly. We're magic, Kelsey. I don't this is why we started this podcast, okay? Like, this is why I started the podcast. So that, A, I would challenge my brain to, like, learn more things, but B, so that the baseball world could hear our brilliant, brilliant takes. And
And
that
so we could just give free advice for what people are getting paid millions of dollars to do.
I mean, I will
Here we
take
are.
$500,000, okay? Like, I'm not even gonna be greedy. $500,000
Did
might
you
be
see
delightful.
did you see I don't know how legitimate this was, but I saw something on Twitter about how Cody Bellinger is looking for like a 10-year, $250 million deal. And I was like, I also
Yeah,
am
me
looking
too.
to get paid
Me too.
$25 million for the next 10 years. So,
I'm like, "Cody Bellinger, what are you doing over there?" Like, do you I mean, I guess obviously he thinks that highly of himself, but I mean, if you're not gonna think that highly of yourself, then why, like, who would then? You know what I'm saying? Like, you
oh,
gotta
that
believe in yourself
yeah,
so
and
that
he's
other
a Cat Boris client, so
yeah,
he's gonna get a bag, that's for sure. I'm
yeah,
not
and
worried about it, but
I'm like, "Oh, alright, so we're just gonna put that out into the ether, like, po power of positive thinking." I'm also going to get paid millions of dollars so that this podcast can get, off of its legs and
right.
go pay me the things that yes, there we go, thank you.
Yes,
Thanks, Cody Bellinger, for
we are
doing
now
that.
accepting offers. We are a free agent podcast,
Yeah, right? You
and we are
know,
looking for about 25 million a year for at least a decade.
listen, I'm not even gonna be greedy. I will take 5,000,000, 5,000,000 a year, okay? Like,
Hmm.
alright, at least for the first year, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah,
Right?
I'd be up to stagger the salary with a couple options.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
just backload that deal. We can
Yeah,
talk about it later,
we'll
okay?
prove our value first.
There you go, that's what we're gonna do. So, let's end the podcast, though, with a couple of just off the wall, what teams do you think come out of the winter meetings making moves, Kelsey? Top
Man,
3. Just top 3.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Yankees gotta do something. They've at
Okay.
least got to change the narrative that we all have in our minds right now from Cashman's media meetings at the GM meetings. So I would like to see them start to do some stuff. I hope the Giants can start to put some pieces together because I think they probably have the most to do in terms of like on both sides of the free agent market and trades. And okay, so I got Yankees, Giants, maybe the Blue Jays as well. Because
Okay.
I would like to just put the Ohtani and Soto rumors to rest. I don't think there's any legitimacy to that becoming a reality, but I do think that they have some serious moves to make. And a lot of that could be done via trade and then maybe a free agent signing or two. So I'm looking at, the Yankees, the Giants, and the Blue Jays. Who you got?
Um, I think we're just gonna get a standard press release from the Atlanta Braves that they have come to an agreement about DylanCease and
Ooh.
TylerGlasnow. And somehow, some way, some
They're gonna get
shit,
both of them?
I think so. I
Ah,
think so.
I would hate that
That's my
so
hot
bad.
take. The Atlanta Braves, signed both TylerGlasnow and DylanCease. And so I think the Braves are just gonna come out of nowhere, just silently and stealthily taking 1% of both of their contracts and holding, I don't know, like, Tyler Glasnow's dogs hostage on Alex Anthopoulos Island in order for him to sign the
What?
player-friendly contract. Well, and so they got Tyler Glasnow's dog, they have Dylan Cease's cat on Alex Anthopoulos Island in order for them to sign the contract to get them to donate 1% back to the foundation, and it's gonna be a ridiculously player-friendly contract, like, you just watch. So there's gonna be a press release for however many years at, like, a super low AAV, and you're like, "How did that happen?" And you're gonna think back to this podcast and put on your tinfoil hat, and you're gonna be like, "It's Alex on Anthopoulos Island, that's Susie said."
It's the only
So,
explanation.
it's the only explanation. So the Braves, I think the Blue Jays, and I think the Yankees. Those 3 clubs are going to come out of the winter meetings making moves. I don't know what kind of moves. I don't know what kind of craziness is gonna happen.
Do you think
Braves,
we see Ohtani or Yamamoto sign this week?
I'm gonna have to say yes. I think, like, in my heart of hearts, I don't think it's true.
I
But
think definitely not Ohtani, probably not Yamamoto, but if one of them will,
yeah.
it will be him.
But as soon as Ohtani signs somewhere, then you'll see 43,000 moves. Then
Yeah.
it will just be a blaze of something. Like, it's gonna be that scene in Moneyball where he's calling 4 different guys all
Yes.
on different lines, you know? And that's what's gonna happen. So, they're like, some team is gonna miss out on Ohtani and then pivot to Yamamoto, and then they're gonna miss out on Ohtani and Yamamoto, and then they're gonna go after, like, who's the
Marcus Stroman, I'm telling
oh,
you
Mark
what, Giants, just do
okay.
it. Just skip over Ohtani and
All right.
Yamamoto, go
Well,
get your guy.
I mean, Eduardo Rodriguez is like, I'm here. Anyone see me? Like, I'm here as well." I don't know, but, like, mark my words, Detroit Tigers are gonna be sneaky good next season.
I'm
Sneaky
in on
good.
that. I see it with
So,
you. Yep.
we didn't even talk about the Astros not making moves. Because I don't think the Astros are gonna make moves. That's a whole episode in and of itself, Kelsey. We're gonna have to talk about that
Mhm.
next
Well,
episode.
we're gonna have plenty to talk about because
Yeah.
regardless of what happens or what does not happen, there will be plenty that does happen
Yeah. Yeah.
this week. So I'm sure we will
So
have plenty to talk about on that right front corner burner as well as all the burners on
yep,
next
yep.
episode.
But just that bottom right, just the bottom right one because it's my favorite burner. That's the one that we use all the time. So, with that, we are going to close the show. So don't forget to follow us on all of the socials. You can see Bourbon and B-Ball, Twitter up there, baseball _ Suzy Q down there, Caber tweets over there for where were my one
I
nail?
lost I was like, "Oh no, that's my one not painted nail."
Caber tweets. Go listen to Kelsey. Also, she has her own podcast, Peace, Love, and Baseball. And that's very fun for her. And she's like all by herself, like all by her onesies, talking,
I
doing the
think
podcast.
this
And
week
it's
I might
delightful.
decorate my tree on
No,
my episode with like the 12 free agents of Christmas. So,
oh, that might be cool. But I
yeah,
liked the
we'll
one
see.
ball, just the one ball on the
That's
tree.
peace, love, and baseball.
Yeah,
That's
see
the
there, just
title
the
of
one.
the podcast.
So go listen to Kelsey on her podcast over there. Give us a 5-star rating because come on now, like why wouldn't you give us a 5-star rating? Like we love that. If you feel so inclined, please give us a written review. We would love that.
Written
And
reviews are
also,
really helpful, y'all,
yeah,
because like I don't know about you, but before I buy anything, before I go anywhere, I'm looking at the reviews. So
I'm definitely looking at the
I know it
reviews.
takes a minute or two, but we would super appreciate it, and it's hugely helpful.
And I don't know, like, maybe if you do a written review and you, like, screenshot it and you, I don't know, like, tweet it out or put it out on a social, you may or may not get a thank you present and, like, a shout out on the socials. I'm just saying, okay? Like, I really hoped that the thing that I showed you that I was gonna get as, like, a
Mhm.
giveaway was gonna be here this weekend. It has not arrived yet. So, be on the lookout, guys, because I have a really, 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 really cool
Yeah, teaser.
giveaway to contest that we're going to give, but, like, the prize for this contest is, like, super awesome, and I'm very excited about it. So, but like I said, go subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a written review, give us 5 stars because we do this out of the goodness of our hearts, y'all, because we love talking about baseball and we love, talking to you guys about baseball. So please, in the comments, talk to us, go chat with us on the socials. We would love that. And with that, we will say goodbye and good night and yay, baseball. Hooray. I'm gonna hit end record.